2, 1, and we're live. Hi everyone, me and Alistair are back. We're looking at Beachhead lists today. Do-do-do.
Yeah, so we've read them all, and there's some very exciting things in there. But we have plucked a selection from the different nations that are represented to have a little chat.
Yep. And I'm going to share my screen. And the first one that we need to talk about is just, and it's not necessarily, we're not going to crap necessarily on the player itself. It's not because we don't like understand why you guys are doing it, but we need to talk about the Finnish lists, right?
Yep.
So we'll take an example Finnish lists. I'm sorry, Brewer. It'll be you. Um, so this is an example of the meta of the Finnish lists right now. It's a 19 orderized list. Um, it's got a headquarters company commander here, and then a rifle platoon with the regular commander because you can't take in experienced. Recon infantry, very small units, 5 men, which is not normal for Finns in the old style, but right now, very normal. Recon units. SMGs, these are going to sit in the Komsomolets, T20s, 19-point veteran Komsomolets, which is a 7+ armored carrier, and it's open topped and it takes a lot of pins, but you've got a company commander to make them move, or you can put them in outflank because they're veterans. And he's bringing a lot of those.
Yeah. So
And
for
then,
that platoon, just to highlight,
yeah,
I am pretty sure everything's zipped up in those consomolates, so
yeah.
he's left enough
One,
space.
2, 3, 4 Komsomolets, each carrying 6 guys. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4 units of these recon infantry, and then he
Yeah,
can
so
put the
he's got
officers in with them as well.
yeah. So 2 of them are 6-man units,
Yeah,
2 of them are 5-man units.
yeah, exactly.
5-man units have all got submachine guns. Then they'll get a company commander. Then the other one will get a
Yeah.
platoon commander. So that's 4 armored mobile units.
Yeah. Everyone's sitting in those Komsomolets. If you get
Fun
close to them,
things.
it'll spew out SMG, armed
Yep.
infantry, veterans. Yeah, very deadly. And then we've got the armored platoon here with the T-28 Postuna tanks, which has got a couple of MGs in separate turrets and a light howitzer. He's got 1, 2 of those, and
Yep.
then he's got 2 BA-10s with the light AT guns, and an
Sorry,
engineer platoon.
it's worth scrolling back up to the Positunas just to highlight that he's paid for the pintle mount as
Mm,
well, and obviously taking them veteran. They're unreliable. They're going to be taking the extra pins, but
yep,
doubling down on the shooting phase, you'll go open topped
yep.
with the pencil mount, and it also gives them two pieces of flak coverage if anybody is zipping about with a air observer. Sorry to interrupt, but it's just that
Yeah,
little
it's
point
a
of
little nice
difference.
detail. Yeah, and
Yep.
that means that these T-28s they can pin 4 units. They can shoot at 4 separate targets, which is, yeah, it hurts. And they're veteran, by the way. So
Yep.
if you can't penetrate them at that, then they ignore the pin. So, but
Yep.
they are 8+ tanks.
Yeah,
So,
shouldn't be a problem at 8+.
and then an engineer platoon with a platoon commander again here, rifle squad with a flamethrower, so engineers, and then again a couple of comsomolets.
So what Phil's done here as well is he's taken advantage of the new regular engineers that Finland get access
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
So he's very much paid a
mm,
not minimum, but minimal cost to get 2 flamethrowers on the field,
yeah,
and then he also gets to pack them into the consomolate. So what Phil's got is, he can have everything in armor and mobile
yeah.
from the beginning. He's got nothing that's foot slogging at all.
And one of the points of this army is the point cost of the comsomolets basically. So right now, Phil has 9 units that have unreliable, which means he's getting a discount of almost 300 points. So 270 points discount, which is that's quite a lot, even for 1250 in the discount. And yeah, you're gonna have to deal with them being unreliable and open top, so they can take quite a lot of pins very quickly. But it's
Well,
yeah,
he's mitigated that by making them veteran.
yeah,
So
and
that's the
putting
best you can do.
a company commander in the list as well, right? So
Yeah.
he's dealing with the problem, which is how you build this list, basically. Yeah.
What can you have a little scroll back up? I can't remember how many BA-10s he was packing. Two?
So he's packing two BA-10s, which I think is a really nice armor hunter because it's cheap. It's still veteran, so he can outflank if he wants to. Getting that light AT gun into the flank of the enemy Sherman or Steward or whatever.
Yeah. What I would say about Phil's list is this is the light version
Mm,
of the Finnish list. Just only have what a silly sentence. Only having 6 consommés.
yes.
Um, but but he's countered that by having them all veteran in
Yeah.
the same way that all the other unreliable vehicles he has are also veterans. So he's trying to mitigate unreliable by
Yeah.
paying a little bit more to make them veteran, as opposed to just physically buying more of them, which you will see in other lists. So no, it's Phil's got a slight variation on the theme, but it's pretty much still,
Yeah.
the theme.
Yeah. It is. And for me, such a list here is definitely a 4 or more in my score of 5 ranking list ranking stuff because it's so optimized, it's so well thought out, it's so everything just works together, and at the same time you're basically picking the most optimal way of running this nation here. Yeah. So that was one of the Finnish lists. We also should maybe talk about one of the German lists, just because there's a lot of German lists, and I thought we should talk about Jay Smith here. So Jack is bringing 22 order dice. He's got a rifle platoon first, single officer, regular, and then hair grenadiers with a couple of submachine guns and an LMG, couple of submachine guns and an LMG, and then 2 units here with just the LMG. So these can stay back a lot more than the other units, which he may want to push up a little bit. Also because they're larger units, right? They're 7-man units. No, sorry, 9-man units. A sniper team, an anti-tank rifle, just because it's very, very useful at 25 points. And then a Hanomag, 62 points, transports 12 people. He's got a heavy weapons platoon, and this is more or less the one you talked about, where he brings an officer. Then he takes a medium mortar with the spotter and a light mortar regular, and he does that, of course, to use the spotter for the light mortar as well. And then an anti-tank team. So he's cut down one of the order dice in this platoon you've talked about in order to make the medium mortar regular instead. An artillery platoon with 2 light anti-tank guns and 2 Kettenkrad to transport them, and then an armored platoon with Panzer III, Opel Blitz, 2 of those, and a Stummel. I like the Stummels. I really like the Stummels. And that's because it's got transport capacity, but it's still sort of a tank-ish. The light forward-facing howitzer killed one of my tanks last game I had. And then it's got a pinhole-mounted German machine gun as well. Just very useful. So what do we think about this list?
I am impressed with this list for
Yep.
its raw number of order dice that it can generate without having to min max with
Yep.
inexperienced, leaders or inexperienced squads.
Yep.
It's a really fantastic toolbox.
Really is.
The couple of mortars for indirect fire with spotters, so they can actually do the job. There's a sniper
Yep.
there that will help. It'll more or less help him put his spotter down in a good position. Just when it comes to that forward deployment aspect.
Yep.
It's got a lot of camping stuff, the light machine guns for the back line. Then
The
it's got
anti-tank guns to close down a couple of
yeah,
lines. And
yeah. I know a lot of people are still on the fence whether or not the anti-tank guns and the artillery pieces, the artillery section can work. I believe they can, having experienced them.
Yep.
Then you look at the light autocannons on the soft-skin mounts, fast-moving.
Yep.
Wheeled vehicles, and the Panzer III is a sort of
moving out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Panzer III is a quick sort of reaction to plug the gap. So I think it's a fantastic little list.
I think so too.
Yep.
I also think there's a neat little trick in the Stummel being regular, so it can actually use the spotter of the mortar to shoot indirectly if it wants to.
Yeah, I suppose it can't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And then
I
being able
really
to
like
take
this list. Yeah,
being able to take one of the infantry squads and put it in the Stummel, which is why I'm sure some of those squads have got submachine guns in them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really good. Yep. I hope you have some good games. I hope you like playing Finland.
Oh yeah, because he's going to play a lot of those. But I really hope like one of these German lists will do well. There's a lot of German lists that has many of these ideas running through them. An armored platoon, a little bit of that, and some infantry with light machine guns. I really hope they do well, and I really like this list as well. Then we have Topher, because the the British lists going to this event is not like we're used to seeing them in version 2. Let's just say that. And Topher's is one example of people going in a completely new direction with the Brits. So he's using Vengeance, and he's bringing in inexperienced company commander. So the cheapest possible way to get access to that +4 in morale and snap 2. Inexperienced officer, inexperienced squads with SMGs. Why would you buy SMGs for inexperienced dudes? I have no idea, but he does it. An artillery platoon with a single 25-pounder and an officer. A tank platoon, and this is where it gets interesting. He's got a Lee command tank. He's got a Lee again, so that's 2 tanks both of them have 2 AT guns, right? And then he's got 3 Vickers 6-ton light tanks with light autocannons. So that is a total of 5 tanks. On top of that, he buys a recce platoon, one of the very few people who buy a recce platoon for Beachhead. And he does so with a couple of inexperienced squads and 3 priest kangaroos. Now, the priest kangaroo, for people who don't know, is an armored vehicle. It's 8+, I believe. It's got an MMG, and then he buys
9.
recce for it.
It's armor 9.
It's armor 9, right? Because
it's effectively a Sherman.
One of them is 8 and one of them is 9. Can't remember if it's the priest kangaroo or Anywho,
I'm pretty sure this is the armor 9.
Yeah.
Because it's effectively a Sherman without the turret.
It's effectively a Sherman without the turret. Yeah, and just an MMG. So that is a total of 8 very powerful tanks, basically, with SMG armed inexperienced dudes inside them. What do we think, Ali? What is he doing? What's he thinking?
This is Topher transferring a version 2 list, which he's had success with, directly into version 3 and using the version 3 points. He's also taken advantage of the new options through the recce platoon of having transports with recce. So all of a sudden you've got this, ram kangaroo that can, or priest kangaroo, whatever we're talking about here, that can recce, tracked vehicles. And it's well armored.
Yep.
All these squads will I'd have to do the maths if they can all be zipped up. And the priests, I can't remember what their transport capacity is off the
I
top of my
think
head.
it's a transport capacity of is it 8 or 12? It's fairly high actually.
Yeah, it would really matter because it would mean that all his infantry or the bulk of his infantry will be protected within
Yep.
those
I think it
kangaroos,
will. Yeah.
which then leaves the vicars and the lees to go out and do the killing. The
Mm.
one omission from this list is artillery observer,
Yeah. Which is
and
a weird one to miss out on because he actually does have the points. You could have removed the artillery platoon and more or less taken
yeah,
an observer, right?
but you've got to think that a player like Topher will fully understand that,
Yeah.
and he's decided that a 25-pounder
Mm-hmm.
with a 25-pounder with no spotter is going to get him
Yep.
more bang for his buck, and I think he's right.
I think he's wrong,
Oh no,
but
no,
we
you're
shall
right. No,
see.
I'm going to go. Sorry, if it only had one shot, one artillery strike, then he
Mm.
would be right. But it
Yeah.
fires twice now in version 3, so I believe he's wrong.
Mm.
But what I think though is that this list and these models are lifted straight from version 2,
Yeah.
plugged into version 3, and in version 2 he would have got the artillery observer for free,
Yeah.
whereas now he would have to pay and make a
Yeah.
sacrifice. So his game plan, you can never count a player like Topher out. We're questioning his list.
No, no,
And
I actually
I
think that he has at least something that's brilliant
yeah,
because
and I
he can put the commander inside one of the kangaroos and then run it behind his lees so that he can snap to the kangaroo, the commander, and the two lees in one go. Poof.
yep, yep, and that's why I've picked Topher to finish in the top 5
Yeah,
because of this and because of the player that he is.
yeah. He has a plan, and I would love, dearly love to see him play this list. The final list that we're going to talk about is one that Ali picked out for us, and it is a Death Star list, and it's cozy. So Ali, talk us through this madness.
Yeah, so I plucked this list out. So it's 18 order dice, 1,249 points. So inexperienced platoon commander. Then we've just got a infantry squad veteran. It's the basic 6 guys, but with 4 submachine guns. Then veteran airborne squad, 6 man, 4 rifles. 2 infantry squads, both regular 6 man, just with rifles. Inexperienced company commander with an assistant. And then just to bulk up the order dice, 2 inexperienced light mortars and an inexperienced jeep. So again, those last 3 dice, for a total of 54 points, you get 3 order dice.
Yeah.
Yep, you need to
Do you think he's
help.
going to put the company commander inside the Jeep here?
I will have to think about that more as the list progresses. But
Because
we've
he
also
also
got
has.
he's also got the M3 White Scout car, which is regular, with the pintle-mounted HMG and just a light truck and just a generic light truck. So I think those vehicles are more there for if there are movement-based missions,
Mm.
something like envelopment, double envelopment style missions, then he can load up some small units and keep the truck and keep the scout car tucked away nice and safe. So here we've got more or less the classic plug-in heavy weapons platoon.
Yep.
It's the inexperienced platoon commander and 3 inexperienced light mortars. So
Mm.
again, 4 order dice for 246 for 81 points. Bargain. Boost the order dice count, boost the unit count. Then the big show is the tank platoon with the veteran M26 Pershing heavy tank at 400 points. Armor 10. Yes. Now, I think there's something here with
Mm.
this tank. Armor 10, so you need a light anti-tank gun or better to pin it from the front.
Yep. Yep.
So all your autocannons, all your anti-tank rifles,
Gonna bounce.
they've just melted away.
Yep.
So you're not going to stop this Pershing rolling into you. Then to back it up, It's the what do you call it? Gun carriage.
Mm,
So it's got the turret-mounted heavy autocannons and the turret-mounted HMG, and
mm.
there are one of those.
There's one of those, and
No,
then
no,
there's one
there's
that's
one of those,
got four
and then there's the four
HMGs.
heavy machine guns.
Yeah.
So, great thing about this list is that it covers itself for flak. So air power will not happen. There's a good amount of flak in the
Yeah.
HMGs here that'll stop it because the scout car's got it and these two gun carriages have got it. And then it comes down to the Pershing. Can it be stopped?
Yeah.
Obviously, can it kill enough? No, but can
Yeah.
it itself be stopped? And it's that tank's ability to stop an opponent from actually completing the mission that they want to do.
Mm.
If that Pershing came across 5 Panzer threes with light anti-tank guns,
Just
yeah, I'd
just drive at them and kill them one at a time.
just ram them. So no, I really like this
Yeah.
US list. I liked it a lot, and I liked the survivability of the core infantry being veteran.
Yeah.
I'm unsure as to why there was ever a mix of airborne and regular infantry.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
It's
because I
not
don't.
the infantry is not optimized in my opinion, but
Not
um,
hugely, because if you wanted that sustainability, you could have made the veteran infantry squad
mm,
airborne as well,
yeah,
to give them stubborn. I don't think the submachine guns are going to
no,
get you more. You're not going to kill more, but stubborn might keep you alive a bit more. Or if
maybe.
you were able to maybe shed a couple of dice,
I think
and
this first unit here is there to be in the White Scout car along with one of the officers, and then
yeah,
just try and stay alive and maybe defend the car if they get charged or if there's enemy infantry too close by or something.
yeah. But no, still, I really will be keeping an eye on this list in particular,
Yeah,
just because it's leaning into a theme that I want to pursue, and that's the sort of the Death Star element of
yeah,
version 3,
yeah.
especially something like the Pershing tank, which I have one. So
Ooh.
yeah,
For me, I think this is the first time I've seen a Death Star list where I was like, yeah, this might actually work because he's got the order dice. All his units can do stuff. It's not like they're completely useless. He's got a lot of the UFO like mortar spam that I've sort of leaned into to start with here in version 3, and at the same time he's actually got multiple armored vehicles that can do stuff that are dangerous, and that Pershing is just it's invulnerable. I don't think it's going to die many times during the weekend.
a
It's
close range flamethrower would be
maybe yeah,
the worst.
yeah. But how would you even get the flamethrower close to it? You're gonna have to drive right into all the HMGs that he's got.
Well,
I wouldn't
that's
want to
you know
do
what
that.
that's not our problem to solve, is it?
No, it's not. It's not.
No.
Fortunately not. Right. So that was the list from us today. Um, Lots of interesting stuff going to Beachhead. Do you wish you were going?
Yes, 100%. I am envious. I was envious of CanCon, envious of Warzone Atlanta, envious of Beachhead, just
Yeah,
jealous and envious. I would like to be there
me
to
as
test
well.
out all my list ideas and
Yeah,
to play those games. So, no, these
yeah,
players should feel very lucky
yeah.
that you and I are not going.
Oh well, I don't think I can persuade my wife to go to many more tournaments abroad this spring. I'm already like locked in for quite a few weekends anyway. So, but I want to go. Anywho, so
Yeah.
um, thank you so much, Ali, for joining me and talking about the lists. We may be back talking about Beachhead once it's over, at least. So, yeah,
Cool.
that's it from us today.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. And uh, we are.